Hello, friends. Welcome back to Happy Young Readers. I hope you have subscribed to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you will get the latest video update. Today we are going to look at a magazine, Civil Society. So, we will go to the website of Civil Society and we'll see what's there on the website. So, here you can see the home page. There are a lot of article links on the homepage. First, we'll go to the About Us page and find out who runs Civil Society magazine. So, Civil Society is an independent magazine published from New Delhi. It was launched in September 2003 to tell stories of change from across the chaotic landscape of post reforms India. A newly growing economy has winners and losers. As journalists, we wanted to tell the stories of those who were making it as well as those who were getting left behind. In the past 18 years, civil society has come to be known for its refreshing style of covering people, events, and trends. We are credited with redefining mainstream concerns in the Indian media. Civil society's reportage has brought to national attention individuals and groups who play leadership roles and drive change but get overlooked. We have shown that there is an India that exists beyond prime time. This has been possible because we moved out of big media jobs to create a small and efficient enterprise through which journalists could look for stories where it may not be fashionable to look for them. A democracy thrives on credible information. Small media entities, freed up from the demands of big capital, allow journalists to innovate and explore new frontiers. A large and complex country like India needs more alternative voices. Now we'll see here who are the founders. Umesh Anand, publisher, has held several senior editorial positions in the Indian media. His last job before becoming an entrepreneur was as the resident editor of the Times of India in New Delhi. He has worked for Economic Times and Business Standard. Earlier, he was part of the team that founded the Telegraph. He worked briefly for the Statesman. He grew in Kolkata. He graduated from St. Xavier's. Then next is Rita Anand, editor, who was a reporter, researcher, tracking people's movement and environmental concerns. A previous role was at Panos Fellow on the staff of the Center for Science and Environment and contributor to the Women's Feature Service. She has a master's degree in economic history and has been a teacher. Now you can see here a list of advisory team board members, their vision, mission, and contact us details, address, telephone number, and email ID. So the owners of civil society are credible. Now let's go to the subscribe page, and here you can see various subscription options are given. 1 year print and digital, and 1 year digital only. So it is 1,400 for 1 year print as well as digital, and international is $50. And 1 year only digital is 1,000 and international is $15. And then you can become a special donor to them, and either of these amounts you can donate if you wish to. Then we'll go to the archive. So in the archive, we can see here October 2022. We'll click on that and have a look at the October issue of Civil Society. So it's a PDF that is opened. So you can also subscribe to Civil Society with a print and a digital edition. But right now, for explaining to you what are the contents, how is this magazine Civil Society and how you can make use of it. I am opening the PDF that they have provided on their website. This is the cover page. On the trail of the Gomti, what is a better river policy? And some other article headings are given. They've been in publication for 19 years and providing original stories which you will not find anywhere else in the media. Then here you have letters to the editor. You can go through it. There is a subscription form here, and here is the editor's letter, Umesh Anand, and the table of contents and other details. Now here is the first article, news interview, Zakia Soman on Bilkis Banu and the impact of hate. Now you can make use of magazine articles in various ways. I have already listed in my article list of Indian magazines for teenagers and children's reading on the Happy Young Readers website. All you need to do is go to guide, and here you will find this list of Indian magazines and teenagers reading article. So in this you will find out what are the ways you can use magazines, how magazines are different, children's magazines are different, list of magazines for children and teenagers. And after that, as you scroll down here in the table of contents, you can see how can children's magazines support literacy, using children's magazine to develop critical thinking, how to use children's magazine in the classroom, activities using children's magazine. Okay, so I'll go to this, and here you can see how can children's magazine support literacy. So the story element, story sequence are for the fictional stories that are there in magazines, but in Civil Society there are no fictional articles, those are the real ones. So you can go through this article and see how you can correlate it to whichever magazine you're reading. Now since we are going through Civil Society, one way you can use it is by using a visualizer in your classroom. If you have a media room and where you have a visualizer, then you can take your students there. And or else if you are subscribing to Civil Society by yourself for your family reading, then you won't need this visualizer. But if you are an educator and you wish to teach many students, you just have to keep it under the visualizer, and the magazine will be projected on the screen, whiteboard in the media room. So now what are the activities you can do using children's magazine? Magazines are a springboard for further research. So you can create a topical display board using ideas from the magazine. You can create projects like rearranging the magazine features for a better reading experience. This you can do for lower classes like middle level like fifth standard, etc. But for the higher grades like 8th, ninth, 10th, you can discuss these articles. You can create projects, debates, and discussions in the library or at home if you are subscribing for your personal use. For example, let us take this article. Engineer saves farmers from dung curse with instant manure. Now, this article, let's zoom in and read what it is about. So this article, it says engineer saves farmers from the dung curse with instant manure. So a Chanaka Vandi or dung van roaming around Ernakulam has so many customers, it is finding it difficult to meet demand. Dairy farmers from Kannur to Tiruvananthapuram now request the dung van to arrive at their doorstep. The dung van carries out a most crucial service, probably the only one of its kind in India. Developed by Pradeep Subhash, a dairy expert and owner of Farms Dairy, a company that provides consultancy for dairy farming in Ernakulam. The dung van is a pickup truck mounted with a rejigged dewatering machine. It converts slurry into manure and returns it to the dairy farmers if they need it. So this is Pradeep Subhash with the dung van. This is the person who has invented it and started this. Kerala is suffering from excessive cow dung, says Subhash. A strange comment at first from a dairy expert. Cow dung is an excellent manure and a farmer's favorite. A BTech graduate, 48-year-old Subhash ran a dairy for 14 years. His company now undertakes turnkey dairy projects in Kerala and Karnataka. But his work as a dairy farmer revealed to him the major challenges in dairying. So you can see here there's a machine, and apparently this is cow dung. And let's read further what they do exactly. Kerala is a heavy rainfall area. The monsoon is extensive and pressure on land is more than in neighboring states. The density of houses in one unit is pretty high. Each dairy farm has a slurry tank. This gets filled up fast, sometimes as quickly as every 2 to 3 months. There is no farmer for whom it fills up just twice a year, he explains. During the monsoon, the slurry tank fills even faster. If it overflows, its stench spreads in the area. Objections are raised. Dairy farms with 6 or more cows have to obtain a license from the municipality. If someone complains, the municipality has the authority to cancel the license. Besides, groundwater levels in Kerala are high. During the rainy season, chances of water getting mixed with slurry when the tank overflows are very high. Management of slurry has become a big headache for dairy farmers. So, this is a problem that dairy farmers were facing, and especially in the state where this person, Pradeep Subhash, the inventor of this dung van, lived, this problem was more prevalent. And he did something to solve this problem of the cow dung, excessive cow dung, which piled on and filled the tank and overflowed onto the neighboring areas and created a terrible stench. And people would complain, and then the license of those dairy farms were under threat to be cancelled. So he solved this existing problem by inventing this dung van. Now, Farms Dairy, his company, came up with a solution 4 years ago. Its dung van has a technical unit which transforms the slurry into manure and fills it into bags. The unit works for 6 to 7 hours a day. It is operated by a team of 3 people. On an average, 2.5 to 3 tons of manure are produced in a day. The van's monthly output is 70 to 90 tons of manure. We work for about 25 days a month. One unit is not enough to cater to our city, Ernakulam. There is heavy demand for this service. So you can use these kind of articles to conduct a debate in your classrooms. One of Farm Dairy's initial customers has 40 cows. His dung gets filled every 2 months. Once it's dewatered, it yields 10 to 12 tons of manure. He is happy that such a service is available. He doesn't cultivate any crops. Earlier, he used to request people to take the slurry for free. Now he just sells it to Farms Dairy. We need to spend the whole day looking for cows, so dung management is a real burden. In fact, I was so fed up with my overflowing slurry pits, I was considering closing down my dairy, he says. Edward Innocent, another dairy farmer, used to advertise the dung in his pit in newspapers. He used to get a few buyers, but they wouldn't pay even the paltry 1,000 he was charging for 2 tons. They would offer just 500. He too was thinking of closing down his dairy business. His half acre dairy farm is within city limits, so for farmers to come and buy and then transport the dung was not practical because of the distance. Innocent had availed of the mobile dewatering service 3 or 4 times, but they don't seem to have customers for the manure. And I still have one stock of manure on my farm, he says. Failure or success, like any other dairy farmer, Subhash too studied the problem of overflowing slurry pits. So in 2013, he bought a dewatering machine from Nagpur, but it didn't work at all and he lost 1 lakh. Since he was a mechanical engineer, he developed his own machine. In the next 2 years, he sold 35 such machines priced between 1.5 lakh and 2.5 lakh, depending on the model, in Kerala. But these two did not last long. In 2 to 3 years, the machine started rusting because the dung is corrosive and damages machine parts. Subhash began an intensive search for the right machine. He finally found an Italian machine that was reliable. He began buying the machine and distributing it here through Farms Dairy. He sold 12 of them, but he still wasn't happy, though his prototype was reliable and did the job. The machines were much too expensive. Many dairy farmers can't even afford a milking machine. How can they buy a dewatering machine that costs 30 lakhs? He wondered. This led him to the idea of starting a dung van, a mobile unit that would go from farm to farm, turning slurry into manure. But he first decided to test his idea with dairy farmers. Their response was, "How much will you charge?" Subhash had not worked out the fee structure. At this juncture, he met a woman dairy farmer who was a widow. He asked her, she said, "If you start such a service, I will buy 2 more cows." That settled the issue for Subhash. In 2018, he began designing the model unit. Today, he finds it difficult to meet demand. Panchayat as client. Kerala has a cattle population of 12 lakh, says Subhash. Each cow excretes 20 kg of dung per day. So the state's dung production is an estimated at 2.8 crore kg per day. This overflowing slurry problem seems to be unique to Kerala, he says. In neighboring areas, states like Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, pressure on land is less, so they manage by spreading the slurry on the land. We serve only 100 to 130 dairy farms because repeated visits are necessary. So, by reading this article, you can see what was the existing problem and how this person went about assessing the problem, finding solutions, and whatever problems, challenges came along his way, he tackled them one by one, and then how he succeeded in this endeavor. These kind of articles you can read and then create debates in your classrooms or at home as well. Okay, so this is the way you can use these magazines. You can uh, subscribe to them. They have given here what are the subscription options. They are credible, and you have seen here in the About Us page who are the publishers, and on the website explore the other icons which are there. Here there's a bookshop, the water catchers, there is a Hindi edition and an English edition of 12 amazing stories of how communities went from scarcity to plenty. So, water scarcity, how they managed, and then how they created plenty of water for their communities. Gali Gali Barish Gaon Gaon Bhagirath, says the Hindi edition. Okay, so now the next we will see interviews. On this page, there are articles of interviews with various people. This interview we found in that October 2022 issue. So these kind of interesting, challenging, and positive stories and of problems which are there in our civil society, which are highlighted by this magazine, and you can read this, discuss it, research more, and present your findings. And this way it will be a great help to you and your students. Okay, go through the article of list of Indian magazine for teenagers and children's reading. You can see how you can use children's magazines, discuss festivals and related stories. Poems from magazines could be an inspiration for composing verses. Read aloud stories from the magazine and discuss the story elements. If there are fictional stories, especially for the elementary children, find information about people who made a difference to society and talk about what you liked. Now, in this civil society, this person, Pradeep Subhash, so he has made a difference to the society. So, what did he do? How he went about solving the problem? What are the challenges he faced? And ultimately, now, how popular his idea and his project has become. And this is one great magazine. Subscribe to Happy Young Readers. Go to our website, read other articles which are there. Blog articles are published, and on a regular basis, go through them, make use of it, and that's all for the moment. Bye.